good to have you with us. Jim Masters here, reporting for duty in the New York area, the United States. And we are here to entertain, inspire, and have a good time with you. And boy, do we have extraordinary guests who are joining us here on the show. Yes, we're going to be talking about some really cool things and a fabulous, riveting, eye-opening, and inspiring movie that people have been talking about and they've been asking about. And we're going to tell you how you're going to be able to see it as well. They've had some screenings on the West Coast and the East Coast as well. And one of the stars of this incredible film is somebody that you have seen on your screens, in the movie theaters, on television, stage, and everywhere else, even in music videos for decades. I'm talking about the incomparable Eric Roberts. Yes, Eric Roberts is here. We're very excited about that. And he is in an incredible movie with Carol Alt and Rico Simonini, who was a guest on our show as well, called My Last Best Friend. Everybody's been talking about this. And of course, Carol is an extraordinary actress and model. And Rico, you may remember, was on our show not that long ago as a fantastic guest. And we did a whole incredible conversation that went in so many different directions about his career. He's a phenomenal doctor as well. And we're also going to be joined by the writer, director, and producer. This is his baby, of My Last Best Friend. This is the extraordinary award-winning filmmaker, Filippo Prandi, and he is joining us here on the show as well. And they've had such an amazing time when they were working on this movie. And so many incredible stories and lots of laughter, but it is a serious topic as well. I mean, they filmed this at a very difficult time when it was hard to bring people together and to be able to film projects like this. You know, a lot of studios were closed. It was really during the thick of the pandemic. And it's absolutely extraordinary that they were able to do this. And it's a really incredible movie. You're going to want to see it. We're going to tell you how it's going to be streamed and all soon. Also, I want to let you know that Eric has a memoir, and it's coming out in September, and it's all the buzz. Everybody's excited about it. We're going to talk about that as well, because that's really literally hot off the press. As a matter of fact, there's a little information there for you as well. There's a quote from another incredible actor, David Duchovny. Eric, of course, will start talking about Eric's extraordinary career. As you know, as I said, you've seen him for such a long time on television and films and so much more. Fabulous American actor. Careers, believe it or not, hard to believe, spanning over 50 years. He's done everything from soap opera, Another World in the beginning, to some of the most epic blockbusters. He's amassed well over 700 credits and appeared in major blockbusters, independent films, television series, animation, short films, student films, music videos. And, you know, as of 2024, he's one of the most prolific English-speaking screen actors of all time. Of course, again, in the leading role of King of the Gypsies back in 1978, for which he received his first Golden Globe Award nomination. And he was nominated again at the Golden Globes for his acclaimed role as Paul Snider in Bob Fosse's Star 80. You know, working with Bob Fosse, a dream. He got a chance to do that as well. And his performance of Runaway Train in 1985 as a prison escapee, Buck, and that earned him a third Golden Globe nod and a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. Some of the other films he's appeared in: Raggedy Man, The Pope of Greenwich Village, By the Sword, Final Analysis, The Specialist, The Cable Guy, It's My Party, Cecil B. Demented, National Security, A Guide to Recognizing Your Saints. This is just the short list, folks. The Dark Knight, of course, The Expendables, Lovelace, Inherent Vice, The Human Centipede 3, Babylon, and he's been in television series too. Doctor Who, the television film, Less Than Perfect, recurring roles on NBC's Heroes. He was on the CBS soap opera The Young and the Restless. I know the soap fans out there are excited about that. The legal drama Suits, the HBO series The Righteous Gemstones. And that was a cool one too, with, of course, John Goodman. That was a great one. That is actually one of Eric's favorite projects. including this one here that Filippo has created. That is the short list. And of course, our friend Filippo is, this is his directorial debut in creating this masterpiece of a movie, which again, we're going to show you in a second, different ways that you'll be able to see it. We also have a very special trailer that they sent our way, which we really, really appreciate. And just want to show you, there's been lots of buzz, best director feature film nods and so much more. And best actor feature film, Eric has garnered that as well in this year. Again, they came together and put this with Carol and Rico and the whole team together. And it's going to make you think. It's really very, very eye-opening. And it's one of those movies that just gets you to really think about life and about, you know, relationships. And Eric is incredible because he plays dual roles in this. I don't want to give it all away because we really want you to see it, and we'll have them describe it, but it's extraordinary how he pulls this off. I got a chance to see it. Saw the trailer, I got the movie sent to me. You know, other than eating the popcorn when we were watching it, we didn't take our eyes off it. It really is terrific. Eric is an extraordinary actor, and everything he does, he brings so much of himself into the role. So this is cool stuff, folks. And I know without further ado, because I can talk about it forever, I want to welcome our very special guest joining us here on the show. Here is the filmmaker extraordinaire, Filippo Prandi, joining us. Filippo, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here, and congratulations. And of course, the incomparable Eliza Roberts is here on the Jim Masters show.
Good morning, guys.
He wears a belt. How are you guys? Welcome, Eric, and welcome, Filippo. It's so pleasure.
Glad to be here. I'm cool.
So, Eric, I love that chair behind you. You're in a really cool spot. What room in the house is that?
This is the living room. That's where I sit all day, every day, and watch our enormous, ridiculous TV. And the fireplace that's to my right, and everybody else is over there.
That's fantastic. And Filippo, where are you positioned?
In my living room, to be perfect frank.
With the big TV and everybody to the left as well. Well, welcome.
Yeah,
guys.
Actually, the photos and the painting that you see, they were actually the painting was actually. I'm actually supposed to give it back to a friend of mine. He was alone. Yeah, for the past 4 years, and she came to the show last July 2nd. I'm gonna give it back to her, but I figured that it would be cool to have it on. No joke. I mean, no kidding aside.
Yeah.
These are the actual photos that I used on the movie for you know, as props. We needed to pin something on the walls, and then I figured I would use I don't know, my own photography and.
That's cool. That's cool because you're a world-class photographer as well as filmmaker.
Otherwise, you would have to pay for something else.
So we'll start, of course, with the movie. Then I'd love to touch a little bit on, you know, other things you're working on in your phenomenal careers. But how did you come together, the two of you, to work on this movie? How did that situation happen? How did that gel?
Eric, you wanna, or should I?
Well, I just have one name, Eliza Roberts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Who is his lovely wife and phenomenal actress and casting director and so much more. And
manager.
There she is right there. And yeah, that's so the script came to you. Is that what happened, Eric? You had the script presented and you loved the idea of playing the different characters, and the storyline appealed to you. What was it about it that really grabbed you?
Eliza put us in together after I read the script, loved the script, and we just went to work. It was kind of overnight, bang, bang. And what, honey?
Playing two roles.
Hello, Eliza. She's right off to the left there.
And it was quite fast, quite comfortable, and quite daring for both of us, because we talked about how hard it was going to be to play these two parts, and then we just dove into it, and it was hard. He was a great leader. He did lead me because it's hard doing that, and it's hard doing it so it's not cute, so it's not cliche, so it's not predictable, and you know, that's what I was scared of, and I put myself in his lap, and he operated me accordingly. And he was a great leader. I had a good time with him, and it's a good ass movie.
It really is, Eric. It absolutely is. And you knocked it out of the park. Really extraordinary acting. But again, everything you do, I know you're humble about it, but let us, celebrate it for you. You're just an extraordinary actor. You bring us all in, and you don't release us until the credits roll. And I think that's just a gift that you have. And you put so much heart and soul into what you do. And one of the things in doing my research that I love that you have been noted for saying is you have such respect for the people that create this art. It's like their baby. You understand what they go through to write these scripts, to put all these kinds of things together, all of these films and productions you've been involved in over the years. You have incredible respect for the process and for their people. It's almost like it is their child, and you embrace that, which I think is a beautiful thing, Eric.
Well, you must understand that. I mean, that's why it's so special, and that's why when art is really good, it succeeds worldwide always, because it's a universal understanding of the heart, the intellect, the creative force. It's a wonderful thing. And so everybody's baby you have to treat with that respect, because it is, and you're just being asked to be a part of it, and it makes it even more special for me. And I love what I do, like I love my wife, all day, every day. I got the best job on the planet.
Absolutely right, my friend. You sure do. And Filippo, when you hear that from somebody like an Eric Roberts, who understands that in this case with your production, it is like a child, it is like a baby, it's like your baby, and you care for it in that way. It's quite a thing, isn't it?
It is. If I look back at 4 years ago, summer 2020, when we studied principal photography, I was actually petrified. But in retrospect, no, I figured right there and then I thought I'm gonna screw it up. I'm glad it didn't happen. But no, it was an amazing experience to have someone like Eric to play the double. I mean, honestly, I don't think that I would have done it if I haven't had somebody like Eric, whom I knew he could play both characters, and it was a wonderful experience. And upon rewatching the movie, I have to say, it works. My biggest concern back then was, will I be able to sell the idea that there are two Eric Roberts interacting with one another? And I look at the movie now, and I think the answer is yes. So it's wonderful. It was a wonderful experience, and it's wonderful to look back at it, and it's better now that it's done. That it's all
absolutely, yeah, the relief
packaged.
Now, when you were writing, obviously the story, did you have like an Eric Roberts in mind? He was perfect.
I wrote it for him. I've been in contact with Eric and his agent and Eliza, his managers, and wife, of course, for a few years. And I was supposed to make another movie in 2020. We were putting together the financiers. As a matter of fact, we were supposed to open up an LLC in April, May 2020. And it was a 2-year process to get there. But we all know what happened in February/March.
A hiccup, yeah.
So that was my backup plan for 2020. Although I had the idea earlier in 2019, my last best friend, I hadn't written it yet. I didn't even know what to call it. But I had the idea because I read about a certain person. I'm not going to reveal who that person is, a real existing character. Otherwise, I would be spoiling the movie because it's the big final reveal, And there was something in that article that I read that really intrigued me. And I had the first idea, the inception, so to speak, in a Christopher Nolan sort of way, started in 2019. I knew that I was going to write this movie about two identical looking men living under the same roof, sharing the same identity, and the big question is why. And eventually, when in 2020 the COVID-19 pandemic began, I decided to write the screenplay and to incorporate COVID into the screenplay. So that's how we started. And then I contacted Eric's agent and manager, and we gave it a go.
Now, was there also somebody that was a friend that you lost that also inspired this as well, this incredible movie?
A good friend of mine, he was a filmmaker as well, from Brazil. He lived here in New York for over 7 years. Yeah, it was a really good friend of mine for many years, as we were both living in New York City, both foreigners. I honestly used to consider him my best friend here in New York. For people like me, foreigners living in another country, you separate your life back home to your life right here in New York. I would say he was back then my best friend. Eventually moved back to Brazil, and I found out actually even like several months after it happened, because I was contacting him directly through a friend of mine, and I found out that unfortunately he had passed in Brazil, and far too young, and I decided to dedicate this movie to him. It was I am. The whole movie started as a way to, like I said before, to analyze the whole concept of friendship by showing the most peculiar kind of friendship, the friendship between these two identical-looking men, both played by Eric. But yeah, deep down, it's a movie about friendship. That's what it's all about.
And is that part of where the title came from?
Yeah, it's again, I don't want to spoil
all of it
too much, but
right.
But there are things that you can say. I mean, whatever you can see in the trailer, of course, you can talk about it. One of the two characters played by Eric in the movie eventually gets sick with COVID. He contracts COVID-19, and the other one has to take care of him. He's been his caretaker, so to speak, for many, many years. Making sure that he would follow a certain diet, making sure that he wouldn't drink too much, because he's a recovering alcoholic. One of these two, Walter Stoyanovs, that's the character's name, right. And he's been doing this, year in and year out of sheer friendship, selfless, apparently, selfless friendship. But and this is the aspect that I wanted to analyze, is that deep down, even the most selfless act can actually hide selfish reasons, we want to have friends so that we're not alone. And of course the same thing could be true for anything from relationships, love. We want to treat whoever, our partners, properly, so that we are loved back. So there is always like a selfish connotation to it, like no matter what. And if you watch the movie, you'll realize that one of these two characters has a real selfish reason for taking care of the other, Walter Stoyanov. And I'm not gonna say anything more.
That's it, right? That's enough of a nice tease. I've had so many people who've come through the show, this show, and then my professional work on TV and radio, and they've talked about, what it was like to keep the wheels turning in their own individual lives, but also in the industry when that pandemic hit. Or as my friend from Earth, Wind & Fire said, the damn-demic. I like that. Nice. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So it had to be interesting trying to put it all together, everything all the way down to craft services, I guess, during that very tight, tough time. What was that process like of filming this and getting it all, produced and in the can during a time when a lot of things stopped and shut down?
Which one of us should go?
You would know.
I like the way it sounds like. I like that.
For me, I can say that it was very challenging, but we kept the movie set safe. We were privileged actually to the usage of an entire building, give or take. There were several apartments. There were a building located in the West Village, New York City, of course, and several apartments and studio apartments were rented, but there were a grand total of 3 that were unrented at the time. One was a huge apartment. As a matter of fact, without naming names, you know, a big star from Hollywood was actually staying there because he was filming in New York, and eventually left when the pandemic occurred because they suspended the production. It was like a $15,000 a month apartment, I believe. Like we're talking like 2 stories, a backyard, 2 stories backyard. You can see it in the movie. Is the one that we used for Sarah Renard's location, and there was also a small studio apartment and a bigger apartment. And point being, having 3 of them, we could compartmentalize the entire production. In one apartment, the one that we were not using that day, we could test people. And if they tested negative, then they would be access to the second floor where we kept the camera and the equipment. And of course, the actors wouldn't go there. Well, actually, no, actors would go there eventually for makeup, but sometimes that would happen on set as well. So yeah, we basically moved production around, you know, throughout the same building, and we found a way to be safe.
Don't you question everybody, cast and crew? We were just commonly courteous about distance and about the mask, and that's all it took. And nobody got sick. It was a success, and we made a good living.
Which is fantastic. I mean, that's the key.
We also wore masks. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And so, you know, the fact that you played both roles too, Eric, did you enjoy taking that on? Because it's extraordinary. As I mentioned, you're so good at everything you do because you just immerse yourself in whatever the task is. And you do it so beautifully in this film. What was that like for you?
Thank you for the kind words. That was so nice of you to say. It's like jumping into a cold lake the first day in late spring. Woo! It's cold and it's frightening, and it wakes you up and it makes you see life as it is for a millisecond, and that's what it's like playing 2 parts.
That is what it's like, absolutely, as far as just water splashed on you and all of a sudden. And I want you to, Filippo, as your picture gets darker and darker.
I probably, yeah, sorry. Turn one light on. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I was going to say, as far as how long did it take from the germ of the idea to it being completed? How long was the shoot schedule? You know, how many days, how many months? I was saying, how many months, how many days from the initial idea, Filippo, to it being completed? How long was that stretch?
Filippo, how long was pre-production? How long did we shoot? And how long did you have to edit?
Wow. Pre-production was short.
It was, huh?
Let's just go short. But no, that's actually almost sounds funny calling it. No, it was very short. A little less than 2 months, I believe it was. It was a little less than 3. I'm sorry, I got confused. A little less than 3 months. But it was a really short span of time. And a principal photography, like the bulk of the movie per se, we shot it it was 10 days with Eric, just Eric. Then I think 4 more days, so let's call it an even 2 weeks, and that was back in 2020. Then there was B-roll photography, but then we filmed extra scenes in 2021. I would say, all in all, it was a 3-week shoot, but again, it was split between 2 years, 2020 and 2021.
That you know, you got it done relatively quickly, like you said, during that time from the idea to
I was done with the raw cut of the movie the way it was supposed to be back in 2020, the way I wrote it. That was supposed to be a very short feature film that was supposed to be about 80. It was 80 pages long, the script, and the movie per se was in itself was 83 minutes long. But then later on, we decided that we needed to add something to. No, because we figured that one of the two characters played by Eric did not have enough interactions with other characters. Granted, he's supposed to be the mysterious character. So, but then again, we figured like let's give him a few more scenes with another character, and precisely that was the Jennifer character that was brought in 2021, and we shot those scenes in 2021. But yeah, no, you're right. It was a short span of time. It took a little longer in post-production, and it was very challenging, but it was worth it. I'm again, upon looking back, I'm really glad actually.
And you have also in this incredible film joining Eric, Carol Alt, and of course Rico. How did they become a part of this project as well?
Because they're people, and they love him. He loves them, and he admires their talent. And I've worked with both of them before, and they're just remarkable, nice, talented, attractive people.
They are. Rico, when he was on the show, the conversation was so wonderful. He's another person that gives so much of himself, and he's an incredible doctor as well. So he's got sort of like a dual career. We have a trailer that we want to show from the actual movie that you guys generously sent to us, which gives people a little bit of a teaser, because I know we're going to talk about places where people will eventually be able to see this, and you've done screenings on both coasts, which has been great, and it's been so well received, you know, critically, which I think is a beautiful thing as well. Gang, everybody watching, thanks for all the comments. Jim Masters here, Eliza Roberts joining us, and Filippo Prandi joining us here as well. And this is amazing with all the comments we have coming in our chat room here. Everybody welcoming the two of you fine gentlemen, and they're watching from around the world. Here is the trailer for My Last Best Friend, and then we'll be back and we'll continue in just a moment. Take a look at this, gang.
This was my city. I don't recognize it anymore.
Where's the bacon?
Your last physical was a disaster.
I want some bacon.
And I want Cole Kidner. Let's see who gets lucky first.
I've been investigating somebody who appears squeaky clean, at least on paper. Walter Stoyan.
The name doesn't even sound familiar to me.
I haven't seen you in a while.
I was on the wagon.
I probably shouldn't have given you that drink then, huh? You know I'm gonna miss you?
We were destitute Waltons. You were sleeping under a bridge when you won that lottery, man.
And I don't want to be on tape unless I feel safe.
What's your idea of safety, Mr. Maroney?
It's you.
I need to see you right away.
He said he was leaving town for a while.
What are you doing here? Get lost. You know I'll cover for you.
How long have you been having that cough?
731 new coronavirus-related deaths, which bring the total in New York up to 5.
Does this have anything to do with my daughter's case?
I am outraged.
You're going to the hospital.
No, I am not.
Mr. Stoyanov, I'm calling you about your father. He tested positive for COVID-19.
What is wrong with you? I'm trying to save you.
I think I made this deal with you just so I can have a pot to piss in that cable TV. No, I did it for Bobby. "13 years and I still don't know your name. Isn't that weird?"
You're better off that way.
That was amazing. And yes, thanks for watching. As it said on the screen there. Filippo, first, congratulations on this. I know it's something that is, you know, obviously running through your veins. It really is not only beautifully acted by all, but beautifully shot too. I mean, the production value is very high. I mean, you really pulled out all the stops with whatever, you know, budget you were able to work with. You really pulled out all the stops. It's exquisite. It's really amazing, my friend.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, budget was tight,
yeah.
but
fundraising, right? Yeah.
No, we well, first of all, we had a great advantage working. I mean, filming in New York City. You know, it's a to say the obvious, it's a great looking city, and you know, the fact that we were filming when the streets were empty, or actually, to be fair, deserted. Like, as you can see in the opening credits, like there was nobody in a 4-avenue radius, and you know, the avenues are longer than streets. And you know, just simply by filming Eric and the other actors in this you know, empty New York, he added some production value that you know, of course, was not really there. And you know, aside from that, it was a dialogue driven movie, a drama more than anything else. And then I knew that this gentleman over there could pull it off, because, you know, it was all it was I mean, it was an almost solo show. I mean, being that Eric was playing two, not even the leading character, but 2 leading characters. But yeah, it's but I'm sorry, I don't want to sound like I'm congratulating myself.
No, you were, hey, you were the one that dreamed it up, put it together. Absolutely. You have every right to. And as a matter of fact, others have been noticing it as well, which I think is really cool. And, you know, it's been critically acclaimed thus far from people that have had an opportunity to sample it and enjoy it. And that's a cool thing as well. And this was your, you know, coming out of the gate directorial debut.
Can I add something? Since you've shown the awards, no, just right now, the awards and the nominations that we received. We've just been selected at the Ferrara Film Festival. I just found out about it right now. I just got the notification. Yeah,
wow.
Way to go, Eric.
Congratulations.
I don't know exactly what nominations we have so far, because they gave the announcement today, but we've been selected. My Last Best Friend was selected. So, and
congratulations.
I'm very much looking forward to it, because it would give me an excuse to go back home and visit my family. So
absolutely. Congratulations. Thanks for sharing that on the show as well. And Eric, you know, you've played so many iconic roles, large and small and in between. And we always learn something when we take on various roles and things that we do in our lives. What are some things you learned about humanity, about life, even about yourself in this particular dual role situation in this movie?
Well, in the playing of and the portrayal of, both they're 2 slightly different things, I learned real, kind patience making this movie, because it was hard, and the pandemic compounded everything by 10 as far as the difficulty went. And I just decided all I can really do to be an advantage here is to be Filippo's puppet and let him guide me accordingly. And so everybody would, hopefully I would set the example and everybody would follow suit. That's what happened, and it worked.
Yes, it did, my friend. It absolutely did. And, you know, just talking a little bit about the individual careers, as people, I know the viewers are so excited to have you guys with us here. Filippo, how did you get started in this this world of entertainment, filmmaking, photography? What was it for you early on?
Well, filmmaking, I've always wanted to be a filmmaker, quite frankly. I attended New York Film Academy back in 2007, 2008, when I was 24, 25. And eventually I you know, kept on working, you know, doing different jobs. Really, I was working for a production company as a video editor for a couple of years. Then eventually, I found I was picked by a literary agent, Dennis Aspland. I had my first screenplay options when I was 29. So I've done some script doctor work. I've been working for the longest time on a project that hopefully I'll be filming in the near future, in a couple of years. It's an Italian movie titled Annex 1. I'll make it someday. We've been working on it since 2018, and eventually, after a short film titled The Amital Therapy, which I've made back in 2018, I came in contact with Eric. By Eric, I mean Eric's agent, and yeah, that's, I'm sorry, I summarized the 12 years.
No, it's great. Yeah.
It sounds like,
sure.
Otherwise it would be too long, but yeah.
Well, the rest you can put in your memoir eventually.
And as a photographer, it started later on, frankly, even though I studied photography in college back in Italy, but it was theoretical more than anything else. It wasn't really a hands-on camera experience. And I didn't study photography at New York Film Academy, even though they're teaching it now. I did not take that class in 2007. But a friend of mine introduced me to a photographic technique called light painting. And eventually I fell in love with photography around 2011, 2012. I've been doing it professionally since 2015. That's when I had my first art show. That's it.
Fantastic, and much more to come too. And if
by the way,
I have this right,
I want to take your picture one day, Eric. I called it a triple portrait. It's basically I have one famous artist. It could be an actor, it could be a director, it could be a novelist. I'll show you the series. I would like you to sit down for a triple portrait where you will be captured in 3 different positions. It should come natural because you already played 2 characters in my movie. So I want to do it someday.
That's a cool idea. That's wonderful. Now, in doing my research, Eric, did you once tell, was it your mother at age 7, I'm going to be an actor?
Sure. I told everybody by 7. I was positive by 7. I was going to be an actor. I had my Academy Award speech ready. I was going to be a star. I was going to be a movie star. I was going to be a great theater actor. I was going to be John Barrymore coming back. I had all these illusions of grandeur, because my whole world was the Broadway book that came out every year, and with all the Broadway plays, off-Broadway plays, and I would dream. I would just dream, and it's what got me out of Georgia, and was just dreaming. And my parents were both positive in the aspect. They both were very supportive of my dreams, even though in Georgia at the time they were crazy dreams.
They were also in show business as well, or your father?
Well, amateur show business.
Sure. Yeah. And did that inspire you in any way too, watching, them do their thing?
Well, they weren't. Mom was a performer, but as an actress, I didn't have an affinity with that. But my dad was a teacher, and when he told me what to pursue in the understanding of the craft of acting, it just inspired everything about what I wanted to be and do and feel and understand and pursue. And of course, the dream of fame. I mean, fame is everybody's little like titillating, people know your name, and it's just a wonderful thing. And it is fun to walk into a room and everybody knows who you are. It's really neat, and you have to be humble and you have to be kind with it, but it's really neat.
Absolutely. And I know you love every aspect of it too. What would you, if you look back at it all early on, we all have our own life's journey. We have these opportunities that come our way, either they're presented to us or we have to carve out our opportunities. What would you say in your illustrious career, Eric, was one of those key early moments, opportunities, door opening opportunities for you that sort of set the stage for what was going to happen later on?
It's such a huge, enormous, profound question. You need to give me a minute. I don't know. We didn't have a pre-interview interview. I have no idea. That question's enormous. I know in my book, I make it clear in the dedication, really, the turning point. My wife, she picked up the pieces and she saw there was a uniformity there that was of value and interest and unique, and she put it back together. And bless her heart, here we are talking about it.
It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to have that, and to have that wonderful love story. How did the two of you meet?
We met on an airplane on the MGM Grand. It was a private airline at the time.
Oh yeah.
I had flown in from Rome to JFK, was handed a script at JFK, was told I had to read it on my journey from JFK to LAX, Los Angeles. Because when I got off the plane, there'd be a person waiting who needed the answer or financing at that hour. So I said, okay, no sweat. So I get on the plane, hold my script. Here comes an attractive redhead who sits down with the script. We nod. We open our scripts. We read our scripts. We close at the same time. We kind of have to talk. What are you reading? What are you reading? Who wrote that? Who wrote this? Who's your favorite screenwriter? Oh, one guy, David Rayfield. He wrote 3 Days of the Condor, Out of Africa, The Way We Were, The Firm, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, oh, I know. He's my father. I went, wow, cool. Can I have your phone number? She said, I'm in a relationship. I said, I didn't ask to sleep with you. I asked for your phone number. She laughed and gave it to me. So here's the story. Gets great. It's almost over. I get to LA. I go to work. I get out very quickly. I'm home early. So I called this girl I met on a plane. I have her number in my pocket. I call her. Bang. A man with a very deep voice answers the phone. Hello. Oh, no. May I speak to Eliza? Mass is calling. It's Eric. He's gone for like 5 full minutes, which is a long time to wait on the phone. And she comes back to the phone. We talk. We eventually married. The point is, he was her babysitter. It was Jeffrey Dean Morgan of Walking Dead. And the great conversation, he is why I have my wife in my life. Because he says to her, telephone call. She says, who is it? He said, his name is Eric. She says, I don't know an Eric. He says, it sounds like Eric Roberts. She goes, oh, I met him on the plane. She takes the call. If he hadn't recognized my voice, she wouldn't have taken the call, and I would not have called back. End of story before it began. Thank you, Jeffrey.
That's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. That is absolutely beautiful. And you know, the rest is history, and that love story continues, and she's right there by your side and you're by hers, and that's what it's all about. And I think it's so absolutely beautiful, Eric. You're both blessed to have one another in your lives. It was meant to be. Maybe, you know, you both went through different versions of life and different experiences, but you came together and blossomed as one in such a beautiful way. And again, I think that's an absolutely spectacular thing. I have to ask you, because you've had so many extraordinary people that you've worked with, you did have an opportunity to work with the incomparable Bob Fosse. What was that like?
For an actor, it was a dream come true, because he was the most intelligent, experienced, competent, confident, overused and abused word, but genius there ever was artistically. And I let him lead me around as if I was his puppy. And he was also a great leader. But he was he knew exactly what he wanted, why he wanted it, and when he wanted it. And if you couldn't do it, you had to go home. And he was also, I didn't get a lot of this from him after we got started, because it got kind of desperate with the schedule and the portrayal and what have you. But he was also, he was a very loving person. He was a very loving guy. He's very affectionate. And but after we started the process, all that dropped. But at the beginning, he was a great caretaker, oddly enough.
Absolutely, and one of the legends for sure. You even got a chance to touch upon the soap opera world. I mentioned The Young and the Restless, but even before that, NBC's Another World as, I believe, Ted Bancroft.
I was the first Ted Bancroft. There I am.
The very first one, right?
I want to see that.
Come on, wife. Look at this picture they have of me.
Here's Eliza. Yes. Ted Bancroft, Another World.
Ted Bancroft.
Constance Ford and Douglas Watson and Victoria Wyndham and that whole fabulous cast. There you are as Ted. What was that experience? I think you've said this, but others I've had come through who have been soap actors, they have said it is one of the toughest jobs in acting. The scripts are like this.
It's not one of the toughest. It is
the
hardest thing in the world to do well. I never learned how to do it well. I was horrible. And I'm my biggest fan. Don't get me wrong. I was horrible. And it's just hard. It's just hard. And you can't, I'm like trained to develop characters and to develop mannerisms and things and what have you, and hairstyles and what have you. And you can't do that on the soap. You just gotta fly. And you gotta know how to fly right away. And it's hard. It's the hardest work I've ever done.
And the scripts are like this, right? They shoot so many different, it's constant, and you're several weeks ahead.
Rewrites every 5 minutes. Oh, by the way, let's change it to this. Oh,
right. Exactly. And of course, then King of the Gypsies, that was so iconic as well. When that opportunity came for you, Eric, what was that like early on? Because again, you've had an opportunity to be in these epic productions early on and working with some of these extraordinary people, from producers and directors and fellow actors and actresses. Being a part of this, what was this like for you?
Well, it was monumental. I was 5, 6 other actors who were very experienced, very smart, very kind, and very talented. And they took care of me. They literally took care of me because I was a rookie. Even Brooke, all the car scenes, there are many of them with Brooke. We spent weeks in a car driving around this neighborhood. She took care of me. And she told me how to deal with the camera, even in a car scene. She took care of me. She gave me education. I knew nothing. And they all knew everything. From Shelley Winters and Sterling Hayden down to Brooke. They knew everything.
Yeah.
Susan Judd, they knew it all. So I was a rookie, and they all took care of me. They're all very kind, but especially Brooke. She was a kid, and I was not a kid, even though I was a kid. I was not a kid to her. I was a baby grown up, but she took care of me. She was very good to me, and she taught me humor on a set. Also, Shelley and she both taught me humor on a set. Like you say, "What time is it?" You no, it's 12, and you say, "What time is it?" Because at 12:30, I got to be getting out of here. And everybody goes, "What did he say?" And just silly stuff like that, but all day stuff, and just to keep a set light and fun and silly, and not take yourself that seriously. That's what they both taught me, Brooke and Shelley. They taught me, yeah, this is the big time, but if you act like it's the big time, it's the boring time. So be cool. And they both kind of taught me that in their way. And from the beginning, I had good tutors.
That's fantastic. I do want to mention, while we have the lovely Eliza on the screen, you're an epic actress as well, and you've been in the casting world. Tell us about how you even got started in this industry, Eliza, because a lot of people know you for your incredible work as well.
That's a long story.
A little bonus that we have Eliza with us.
Hi, guys. Yeah, all these comments are fantastic, by the way. That's a whole separate thing. We'd like to spend the next 10 hours reading all of them.
I would love to have you guys back, and we can, go over a lot of things a little more in depth. It would be an honor and a pleasure.
Yeah, listen, we'd love interviewing with you. So that would be great. Well, I was born into it. But I developed other interests all the time because I already understood it to be.
Start with tell her who your biological parents and your stepfather are.
But you did. Well, you kind of did.
But do it.
My mom was Lila Garrett, and you can look her up, 2 R's and 2 T's, Lila. And
the only woman in the writer's room for 30 years. Go ahead.
She was a sitcom writer, producer, director. But she started as an actress. She went to Yale, School of Drama. My biological father was David Rayfield, who was a screenwriter. And then my adopted dad was Don Garrett, who was a publicist for all kinds of everything from the Flintstones and the Jetsons.
The Jackson 5.
To the Jackson 5, that's true. And so I grew up in it, and always was doing theater and stuff. But I mean, I grew up in New York. You sort of went to the theater, then you were an actress in the theater. It just kind of moved that way. That doesn't mean it was in any way easy, because it's not. It just never has been. Probably never will be. By the time we are replaced by AI, we will still not have figured it out. But you kind of, it's like standing in a big long queue. You get a little further, you get the audition, you get the call back, and then suddenly you're working.
And it's a beautiful thing. And did you like the casting part of what you've done too?
I have a love-hate relationship with casting, and I think probably most casting directors do. I really loved supporting the actors. And it was more for me like coaching, which we do now. And it was more like directing. You're a middleman. Everything's done by committee. It's very political.
And the committee kills the commitment.
Yeah, it's very hard because you get excited about an actor and then you can't even believe it, but you're sent back to the drawing board. You're like, well, we found her. And it's like, no. But there were a lot of things I really loved and still love about casting. And nowadays you can do it all. At the time, there was a lot of prejudice against that. People are like, well, we know you as an actress. What are you doing here? But yeah, I did enjoy that. I think I enjoy casting more now than I did when I was full-time casting director.
It's amazing how that happens, right? From afar a little bit. The comments we're getting are extraordinary. Somebody even said Eliza should play Janis Joplin in a movie or what have you. Pam has said that. And Dwight was asking, what was it like working with Mariel Hemingway on Star 80, Eric?
Mariel was the coolest. She had it hard, man, because you're talking about one of the American beauties. And so she got the part. So she had that pressure. She got fake breasts, and she was phenomenal. And she never got the credit because the role, the personality she was playing, and the life she was portraying was not dynamic, except in the end result. As it was happening, it was not that dynamic thing. It was the end result because of the deaths. So she had the hardest job possible. And I had the job that got all the credit because I was the one who got all the attention. But she was more phenomenal than she gets credit for. And I love Mariel like I love any great actor because there's so few. But no, she's magnificent. And I think she never got her due. And it's always really peeved me because it's a part that even after time, you got to watch that part and see what she did. What she did is extraordinary, especially the Vancouver Dorothy. Oh man, when she's being interviewed, when she's not yet the Hollywood version of herself, but she's still a Vancouver girl. Oh my God, the brilliance is overwhelming. And she never got that credit, and it always bothered me. I love her to answer your question. Yes.
Thanks for sending that in. Everybody's commenting, and they're welcoming you to our show, and Filippo as well. So many incredible things. I think, did you say that of all the things you've done, and you've done so much and continue to, and we root for both of you and for Filippo too. We'll have Filippo back on in just a second. This was a project that you absolutely loved being a part of. Do I have my research right, my friend? You loved this, didn't you?
It was my favorite job I ever had.
Yeah.
And it was because of the script and the character, how I got it, and the fact that I had to go earn it, and the fact that it was just magnificent to be allowed to do that part on that show.
Yeah.
I don't always feel that way. And I felt that way every day on that show. I felt privileged and I felt lucky and I felt, oh my God, and every day. And also that cast, to be a member of that cast is to be asked to step into the elite. Those are elite talents, every one of them. And so it was quite the journey. And it's my favorite journey I ever took.
That's a good one. I mean, you've taken many television, film, stage, even music videos. There we are with Mariah Carey. That's a whole other thing. You've garnered all this other fan base from the music videos too. And I know they put those together really quickly, and you know, it's a fast-paced world. How did you like being a part of the music videos too? So many of them.
Well, that blew my mind. You're showing a clip there when she's throwing me off the pedestal there to take another man. It all happened by accident. You know, the Killers were fans, so they called and asked me to be in a video, and I turned it down. And then all my children got mad at me, and they said, "What the F are you doing, Dad? You can't turn on music videos." And I said, and they said, "Well, call them back. We love the Killers. Say you want to be in their video." So I actually had to have the wife call them back and say, "Eric thinks he made a boo-boo. Can he still be in your video?" And they laughed and said, "Sure." So Sophie Mueller, bless her heart, the director, cast me in that. And that started a music video career that I've done about a dozen of them. And I've been told every one I've ever appeared in has gone platinum. So I hope that's true. Isn't that cool?
Actually, I believe that is true, which again brings in a whole other group of people, which I think is so cool. And then, of course, there's the Dark Knight and working with Heath Ledger. Extraordinary experience. You and everybody else must have just been in awe of Heath's work, but just working together as a team, as a family. What was it like being a part of the Dark Knight? Again, another one of your many epic projects.
Well, what I was in awe about with Heath was the fact that I had heard he was unapproachable. Can't approach him. He's too into the character. Okay. So I didn't approach him. But then Heath was totally accessible, totally approachable, totally sweet, totally funny. He's got a 3-page monologue in the scene with all the bad guys. And we're all in our regular street clothes early that morning having rehearsal. And he's walking through it, saying his lines. And he turns to all of us and he goes, "How am I doing?" And we all just cracked up. "You're doing great, dude." And he was very lovable, very likable, very approachable. Not at all what I'd heard. And it was a real loss because he was cool to know.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many, we just showed some of these incredible things that you've been a part of. And I mean, this is more recent too, this one, right?
Lumina is a good one. Lumina is about stuff we have to address.
Yeah. I mean, again, just look at the body of work. I mean, extraordinary, folks. And I know this is bringing back some memories for folks as well over the years. Take a look at these. Of course, Best of the Best, another fantastic. Child of Love, Nature of the Beast, By the Sword. God.
Nature of the Beast. That was one of my favorite times with another actor, because Lance is probably one of the half a dozen best actors I've ever known, and one of the 2 or 3 best I've ever worked with. I love him endlessly, respect him endlessly, just like watching his work. He's so cool.
It's really fantastic. You know, you two, while I have you both on the screen, I think this is really something special. You actually have, you both love animals, and I think, did you say once that if Eliza, I could understand this because, and Eliza will get this, if we see a spider on the wall, we won't kill the spider. We'll just grab a little cup, scoop it up, and then let it outside. Eliza, if she sees an insect in a swimming pool, she'll try to save its life. And you have a squirrel sanctuary there as well, caring for, I mean, the city delivers walnuts for you. Tell us about all that. That's the human side of the 2 beautiful people that you are, giving back in the way that you do.
Many years ago, we had a hurt squirrel in our yard. We take it to the Fix the Hurt Squirrel place to fix the hurt squirrel. They do. They bring it back to us and say, "Oh my God, you have all these treats. Can we bring all the hurt squirrels that we get when they get well here?" We said yes, of course. We had no idea how many squirrels got hurt and well. A lot. So we have hundreds of squirrels, and we get big bags of nuts from the city to feed our squirrels. And it's called a sanctuary because you can't hurt the squirrels. And they're all hand tamed. They all know her, and they all know me to some degree. And they're very affectionate, and they don't ever hurt you, but they crawl, except they do have very sharp claws because they have to have them for a mountain and tree climbing. And they crawl up her dress, and they eat out of her hand. They crawl away, and they're just lovable tree rats who have big, beautiful tails.
Is that something, Eliza, you've always had an affinity for, caring for animals and others, for other forms of life?
Yeah, there's a whole, first of all, it's great that what you said, what you're doing with the spiders. And I did that this morning in the shower. I had to turn off the water because there was water just about, he was trying to climb up the wall, and it was a whole issue, but it was successful. I was really happy about that. Yeah, always I've had a thing about rescue, basically. And the idea of just being able to give a fresh start and make any living thing feel safe. It's just a matter of compassion. It's really basic, do unto others. That's all it takes. Can you imagine a world where everybody did that? It'd be pretty cool.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. I wish that they would. Well, there's a lot of things I wish. I'm a Libra, so I'm balance and harmony. Right. So I don't go with extremes. I like to bring the extremes together. And if we have a pie in front of us, we all get a slice of the pie. Let's come together and try to bring things together. I think it's so important. Another thing that you guys do that some of our fabulous viewers that are commenting and welcoming you, the Natural Child Project, which is something near and dear to both your hearts. Tell us about that. That's something very special.
You're really better at talking about it than I am.
Okay. You know, it all started where I read a book that Eric is now reading by Alice Miller, and it's called For Your Own Good. She did another one, The Untouched Keys. Anyway, these are things that just really prove, even if you're talking to somebody who says, well, I was abused as a child and I came out fine, it's never actually true. So a lot of the ills, exactly what we're talking about, the lack of compassion and people.
No, but it's not, I was abused as a child. It's my parents were strict and I'm fine.
Yeah, no, it can be very, very subtle forms of kind of bullying and terrorizing here within the home. But, you know, it's really hard to fix things once they're already done. An ounce of prevention can really do it. And in societies where there just isn't violence or fear in the home, people just, everything's different. Everything is the way we wish it would be. And we're wondering how come it's not. But it's even small things. My friend who has a grandchild the same age as one of our grandchildren, 19 months, was saying, well, what do you do about safety? What do you do about running in the street or whatever? Everything can be done with positive reinforcement, with appreciation, with respect to the child. Everything. And the naturalchild.org answers every question any parent who has kids of any age might possibly have. It's just beautiful.
Really, really does.
Yeah, it's really, there's everything you need is right there. It's pretty great.
We've got it on the screen there too for everybody to note. Absolutely. And Eric, congratulations, a memoir, and it's coming out in September, but I believe that people can they do pre-orders and things of that nature now?
Of course they can.
Yeah.
I like that. Of course they can.
Of both the audio and the book you can pre-order. Really?
And here is, I believe they can go here too, right? EricRobertsBook.com.
Yeah. We're learning all this at the same time. You're learning.
Yes, there's all these, the marketing and promotion of it all and everything. Fantastic.
First to say with the first thing about this book, I don't smoke anymore. Okay.
Terrific. That's fantastic. When did you cut that out? When did that happen?
18 years ago. 18 years ago, I smoked my last cigarette. It's been but I loved every cigarette I ever smoked. I love nicotine, but you can't get away with it. So I had to give it up.
That's fantastic that you did. And what was that writing process like for you? I'm sure very therapeutic, very cathartic. A lot of people say that when they, put their life together in a way and they share it with the world. What was that like for you, Eric? And again, congratulations.
Thank you very much. That was a nice way to say it when you said cathartic, therapeutic. No, it was horrifying because it's frightening.
Not the answer you expected, folks, right?
You don't want to fall in all the traps that you've read, because I'm a reader. I read everything that's printed. My wife says, and
traps.
It's just you fall in the traps of the world. But everybody talks about their life the same way, unfortunately, because it's the way we're taught to talk about ourselves. And I didn't want to do that, but I had to be honest, and that was the hard part. And my wife kept me honest, and that she said, "No, tell the whole thing," because I would lie by leaving out. And she said, "No, tell the whole thing," and okay. And so it's hard, and it's not cathartic or therapeutic, because it's so exhausting. You're actually exhausted writing a book about yourself, because if you're not honest, you betray yourself and the reader. So what do you have as a legacy from the book? Nothing. So it's a frightening process. I don't recommend it. And thank God I had her to help me stay on track, because that's the hard thing.
Staying on track. I was going to say, obviously you're going back in time, you're sharing a lot. Did you keep journals over the years? How were you able to, bring up, recall, and go back to relive and share some of the material in the book?
Well, I make a lot of movies, so wherever I am geographically is according to the movie. So that's an easy way to have memories. I do not keep a journal. I never did, but I do keep a log line of stuff, like gym, the set, whatever I'm doing. I have my time scheduled for my pickups, blah blah blah, in a book. So that also reminds me. But I also, for 32 years, I've had this one who has her shit together. And she keeps track of everything very well, and she'll gladly remind me of honesty when I slip. And she did every day for this book. "No, Eric," she said, "no, don't do it like that." I said, "Okay." and she's my pal, and we just Well, man, she's also a great kisser, but she's my pal, and we have the best understanding of how to get to it together.
Eliza, anytime I've heard Eric talk about his life, his career, and just the living experience like he's doing here so openly on our show, you're right there. He brings you into everything. And there's such a love and admiration and respect he has for you. And it's obvious, it's glowing, it's evident. It's George Burns, Gracie Allen. It's really amazing. For you, with him saying all that he does, such a beautiful, loving way, what is it for you with Eric, this fantastic guy you have to your left?
Well, it's a great question, because, we all go through, your adult life is kind of an education in romantic love, commitment, and relationships. What you think 1 year, 3 years later, you're going to think exactly the opposite. And so it's really unknown. And he was always very romantic and passionate. And I assumed he wouldn't stay that way, because, who does? And that it would just become kind of bickering and focusing on, blaming each other. A lot of times you feel like you enter into a relationship to have someone to blame. But this is real. And it's very, I'm an artist too, but I also take care of all the business end of things. It's very rare for the artist, who's pure artist, to recognize at all what goes into keeping their life afloat. I've never witnessed that. I swear, I really haven't, in anybody else's relationship or in any of my relationships. he knows that, you know, that there's a kind of that we're partners, and he knows how hard some of the work is and how time consuming and, you know, stressful and what anxiety producing, all of that. And so to have that kind of appreciation, it kind of feels unreal, but it keeps on happening. So, you know, it's kind of amazing. And I think even my kids, because they got an opportunity to listen to the audiobook, and there are a few things that Eric says in there. You know, I felt all the guilt that you feel when the marriage to their dad broke up. And you always feel like, oh, I really screwed up. That's not what I didn't go into having kids intending that. And they both, as adults now in their own relationships, have said, well, this guy really loves you. That is very comforting to us. And I kind of feel the same way. It has that kind of meant to be thing going on. But thank you for saying all that. It really helps. It really helps to have that kind of warmth in order to face all the not so warm out there.
It's a beautiful partnership on so many levels. You can see it. I mean, look at the smile on Eric's face. It hasn't gone away since we started talking about it. It's really, really a beautiful thing. That's very inspiring for others out there as well. I did want to ask, you had an opportunity, I think it was 4 or 5 films, Eric, that you've been involved in with Danny Trejo. Tell us about that. Another iconic figure, huh?
Well, Danny's one of the coolest people there are in his history and his evolution and in his arrival, as it were. He's just a cool cat. In 1985, the writer of Runaway Train said to me, you have a boxing scene. In the boxing scene, we're on location already. In the boxing scene, I want you to box this one guy named Danny Trejo. He's Mexican with a tattoo. I say, okay, great. So pick him. I say, great, because I'm going to ask you today. So they line up all the guys I'm going to box. And they say, pick a guy. And they're all Mexican and they all have tattoos. So I say, hold the page. And I go and I find Eddie Bunker, the writer of the screenplay. And I say, Eddie, they're all Mexican. They all have tattoos. Give me a description. He goes, well, he's this tall, blah, blah, blah. And he's got and there's a boy in a sombrero on his chest right there. So I go, okay, I look and I find the guy with that tattoo. And I say, I want him. And he starts to cry because he was so happy he was picked. Oh my God, I got picked. And he was so humble and so sweet and so talented as a boxer. He was a welterweight champ at San Quentin. He was a badass, and we had a great time together. And from that movie getting his SAG card, Screen Actors Guild card, he became an actor. And Danny Trejo and I have appeared in half a dozen movies together. And I just love him like I love my family, because he is part of my history. Because Eddie Bunker told me to pick him for a movie.
I tell you, that's incredible. Thanks for sharing that story. And of course, people know that there's obviously lots of talent within the family. His sister is iconic actress Julia Roberts. His daughter is the effervescent and very, very popular Emma Roberts as well. And they obviously have been making their marks over the years in the industry as well. And God bless them too. And you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, it seems, in the Roberts world, Eric.
No, I'm very fortunate that my offspring has become a brilliant actor, and my sister has more than proven herself. And I had nothing to do with either of them except showing up. So and I'm their biggest audience. I watch everything both of them do many times over, and am as proud as one can be.
Was there ever a project, production, movie, what have you, that you would love to have had an opportunity to be a part of, and just maybe you were already involved in something else or out of the country, or it just didn't happen, but it would have been cool to be a part of that? Anything that comes to mind?
What comes to mind?
Oh, wow. That definitely does happen, that, you know, where you're sitting watching something and I'll see Eric kind of running the lines and he'll be like, well, wait a second. Why didn't they call me? I would love to have played that part. But it's fleeting, and usually he's happy with it, whoever did do it. I think one that was a little rough that actually almost happened. Taylor Hackford really wanted Eric to play the lead male role in Officer and Gentleman. And unfortunately, Eric's manager at the time thought he was supposed to be part of every rehearsal and just be there kind of hovering. And Taylor was like, I can't do it this way. And Eric was really too new even then to say to Bill, you got to, step back and let me establish a director-actor relationship. And the part went to Gere, who was perfect. But I think, that even Taylor still wonders what would that have been if Eric had played it. So there's one that actually did almost happen, but they kind of come and go. Anything that's brilliantly written, whether it's television or movies and stuff, of course you have that craving. You're just like, oh, that would have been really fun. But I can't think of anything in particular. Can you, honey? But somebody in the comments mentioned It's My Party. We really love that movie so much. It wasn't seen by enough people. It was seen by a lot of people, but not enough. Everyone on earth should see it. So
it's a classic.
Yeah.
Oh, the comments, I'm just seeing them as you can see them on your screen as well. They have been epic. Maureen is a big fan of our show, and she says, Eric and Eliza, I love that you are living your best lives in so many ways. I have such respect for both of you. You are such amazing humans. She's one of our Gym Master show. Remember I mentioned Levities, Light Love Levity, that just happened when I started the series. She's one of them in Arizona, and sends her love to you guys as well. Like I said, Eric, I mean, so many incredible, less than perfect. I mean,
right?
Yeah, the vast scope of things that they've had an opportunity to be a part of is quite epic. Rough Air, Danger on Flight 534. I mean,
I got to tell you guys something.
Yes,
Rough Air sounds and watches like a hardcore, good old-fashioned B movie. But I have never had more fun in my life playing a part, playing a pilot who knew how to pilot a plane, having this fake plane with all this fake real stuff. I was 8 years old again. I had so much fun every day going to work, being a pilot. Almost crashing. Oh my God, here we go. Everybody buckle up. Here we go. It was so much fun. I've never had a better time in my life on a movie set. And I mean that recreational wise. It was like going to the playground every day. I love that movie, Rough Air. Highly recommend it.
absolutely. Well, after this, everybody's going to be going through your catalog, and they're going to be looking at everything again. How about as far as creating your own material as well? Is that something that the two of you have been working on? Do you have the ideas of, producing, directing, creating your own material as well?
There is a character I spoke to my boss, my wife, about this morning that I want to develop. And I want to start a little online show, an interview show with my character as the interviewer. And we talked about it for the first time this morning.
We can't give it away.
So we're not going to talk about it anymore now to describe it, but it would be a talk show, hopefully. Even if it's not a real talk show, it'll be a talk show format. And that's what I want to do next, playing this kind of a character who is very unique.
A Dick Cavett, a Merv Griffin, or
something else, something else.
Something else. That's cool. That's great. That's fantastic.
Usually, we really like to be actors for hire because we see our friends, even our friends with really big names, try to get things off the ground, and it's just like, oh my gosh. There is a movie that's actually on YouTube that never got a home really streaming. Yeah, but it's called Beautiful Thing.
I know.
So, and I would say in a lot of ways, we did not create it at all. It was created definitely by the director.
Phenomenal director.
But a lot of it was completely natural and improvised. And Keaton Simons, my son, his music is greatly incorporated in it, plus he's in it. But Eric really just saw it for the first time, and it was made quite some time ago. And it's another one of those where you're like, everyone needs to see it. And it really kind of was created by everyone there. And some of the people in it were not even actors.
Tell them what it's called.
You find it on YouTube. It's called Beautiful Pain, the movie. Because Beautiful Pain is also a song, and there's a lot of Beautiful Pain. But Beautiful Pain, the movie. So it's if you hopefully find the right one, you find your way to the right one. But there are a lot of exceptional elements to this movie, including Eric's work, which is fab.
You know, you guys are in the public eye, and when you're in the public eye, as we know in these industries that we're in, you're on, you have to do and do and do. What do you like to do to counter that? What is your go-to, your relaxation, your zen for the two of you? Whether it's just walking out in the backyard. We're here, on the East Coast, so the ocean is a couple blocks away. So I'm an ocean person, swimming, surfing, boogie boarding, sailing it, whatever we can do to get in that ocean and near it. How about for you guys to de-amp and reboot from the whole, Hollywood entertainment existence?
My vacations, my relaxation, my let it hang out, or when I come home. I'm on vacation when I'm in this house. This house is my solitude. This house is my little oasis, and I have her, and I have the animals, and we have lots of animals, and it's the place to be for me. And I relax. We have a pond. We have a fish pond. We have a swimming pool. We have I never have to leave this oasis, and here's my vacation when I come home, because I've seen the world several times in several ways, and it's a great place. But I love coming home like I love her. It's great.
Yeah.
How do you follow that, right, Eliza?
Spending time with our grandkids is huge, because we really do. I mean, any of the people who are really, really important, I'll let them know. I don't think I'm going to be answering any devices. For one thing, you can't really pick up a laptop or a cell phone in front of a 19-month-old, because they will take it from you. And they'll start pushing buttons, and it's over anyway. In fact,
we have a 19-month-old who every time she puts on her glasses, I always have on glasses.
So not allowed to have my glasses.
This is how she accepts me. But she doesn't accept her glasses, and she actually take them off her face and put them down.
Yeah.
No, she can't wear them. It's so funny to watch.
So I can't see to function anyway. So that's a real. But are you actually a surfer, Jim?
Did you say glasses?
As soon as I go like this, Magnolia she looks at me and she's like, no, that's not me.
Yeah.
We're not having it. And
the first time I ever did boogie boarding was actually when I graduated college in New York. My college roommate, who was a sports writer up in Boston, his sister and her husband were stationed in the military housing because they were part of the Navy in San Diego. So we went out to California for the summer and got to stay there at the house. And that was when we first were introduced to boogie boarding. And so it was really cool. I think we were at, was it La Jolla?
Oh, yeah.
And it was the very first time I was doing it. And I was all excited, loving the ocean, and had the boogie board. But, the waves in the Pacific sometimes are a little bit different than the Atlantic, though the Atlantic has its waves. Sometimes the Pacific, it can really, it lets you know who's in charge. The Pacific is. And so I'm on the boogie board, and there's a pier, and they always announce, make sure you don't end up near the pier. You can be thrown against the pier and all. And it was really interesting because it was a lot of fun. We had a blast, but I was boogie boarding first time, big wave coming, nothing like what you see on television in Maui. And I love watching the surfers around the world, Portugal and some of these other places.
Yeah.
And so wave one, but didn't realize there was a wave two behind it. So the wave two sweeps over me. I, with the boogie board, go down to whatever the floor of the ocean was. I sort of bang my head, cut the head a little bit. But I said, I will, like hell, am I going to release this boogie board? This boogie board is going to shoot me back up quickly. And I grabbed on for dear life to that boogie board and just came flying up out of the ocean. But that was the very first experience. And I had said, you know what? Let's keep doing it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
You okay, so all right, everybody, and you have to find. You can find it on YouTube or on IMDb. You have to find, and otherwise you just go on IMDb. The Parent Trip.
Bad wife.
50 Ways to Kill Your Parent.
Bad wife.
It's Eric and Keaton.
Bad wife.
It's only a little scene. It's hilarious.
We had so much fun doing this show. Me and my kid.
Yeah.
We had so much fun
One
doing
of the
this show.
scenes is
we got a free trip to
attempting to
Hawaii. It
surf.
was so much fun, but it was so hard, and I can't surf, and I look stupid trying.
You look adorable and very game.
That's the wife talking. I look stupid.
It's really great, and all our friends who are surfers, my best friend Cindy's kids are surfers. They're hardcore. Her husband and especially one of her sons. And for them, it's, well, for one thing, they were there, but besides that, hilarious. I mean, because if you're a professional or even at your level, Jim, wherever level you're at, even that first day level, you look at that and like, how could anybody be that bad? Not that I could do it because I couldn't. You gotta watch.
It's all about balance. Yeah.
I did stand up once.
You stood up.
And then I'm done.
And that's it, right? Yeah. Oh, I love watching them around the world when they have those, Portugal, there's an area in Portugal that's extraordinary. The waves are up to 100 feet.
Yeah, you're uniting with nature. I mean,
that's really a special person that gets on a board and goes, on 100-foot wave. It's amazing. Really epic. You guys really are epic together and individually. It's really a delight to have you here. And I want to bring in our friend who he's been enjoying this. He's been listening. I've been seeing his, because we could see down on the little screens there. He's been smiling and taking notes. And, when you hear this, Filippo, it's really magical, isn't it? This love story between the two of them.
I envy them.
He's speechless. He's bowled over by it all. And we want to know,
be that happy at their age, please.
What's your relationship with the ocean? Have you surfed or boogie boarded or done anything, sailing or swimming, anything with the ocean?
No. I'd be lying if I told you I were.
Eric and I can teach you a few things. He'll teach you surfing and I'll do the boogie boarding.
Give me 5-10 years and then I'll find some time to learn new things. No, but I've always been interested in it. Like I've never found the time though.
Yeah,
he's a worker.
You're working on other projects right now as well, Filippo, beyond this, because you're getting the word out about this movie with Eric and Carol and Rico, but you're already working on the next things, right?
Actually a couple of projects that I'm also hoping to get Eric involved in. One I'll actually be starting principal photography at some point in the fall. It's a thriller, and hopefully the distributors that just got involved in My Last Best Friend will be involved in this movie, but from the beginning. So that's also good news. And also I have a movie titled The Crimes We Don't See lined up for 2025. We will be filming in 2025. It's an LGBTQ drama / thriller, I would call it. And those are the two and also an Italian feature film titled Annex 1 that I've been in pre-production for that movie for the past 5 years. So yeah, it would be nice to finally see it get off the ground. But that's more complicated because it's a movie about the Iraq War. It's definitely bigger budget-wise. But yeah, no, I'm happy to say that I have several projects lined up.
That's wonderful, huh? That's fantastic.
Living the dream.
You're living the dream. You sure are, my friend, on so many different levels. That is wonderful. What do you hope people are left with when they watch this movie?
Being a drama, more than anything else, I hope they'll be moved, especially at the end of the movie. Again, being a movie that revolves around this peculiar friendship, I am wonder if they'll be able to identify somewhat, and relate, to the characters, the two leading characters of the movie. I mean, granted, I'm sure that nobody ever experienced this kind of friendship, but eventually they'll be able to project themselves as they watch the movie. And aside from, I also hope they'll be able to laugh every now and again. The one thing that I'm actually pleased by, when we screened the movie the last time on July 2nd in New York City, people were actually laughing at the jokes. Now, it's not a comedy, obviously, but it was pleasing to see that that those jokes actually landed. And more than anything else, I want them to be entertained. It's that's the beauty of movies, and I would love for them to wonder, how did they do that? When they watch the two Eric Roberts together. My father has said that, so.
That's amazing. It really is. And congratulations again on that. Really something very, very special. And, I know you put your heart and soul in it, my friend, and we wish you continued success. And Eric and Eliza, absolutely wonderful having the two of you with us. Really appreciate all the time and all the great stories. And you are welcome back anytime. Filippo, thanks so much for joining us here on the show, my friend. I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you.
I did. Thank you very much for having me on the show. It's always my pleasure.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And Eliza and Eric, thank you for all the
time.
Eric,
Eliza.
Of course, guys.
And it was a pleasure having you. And I hope you'll join us again at some point. You're always welcome back. I always say we keep the porch light on for everybody. So the porch light is on for you. And hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I have with you guys.
We sure did. Okay,
you're a good interviewer, dude. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. You take care and be well, okay? Thanks for all the time. Generosity.
Bye,
bye, Eliza. Bye, Eric.
Bye, sweetie.
Take care. Eric and Eliza Roberts and Filippo Prandi here on the Jim Masters Show. How cool was that? If you want to learn more, you can go to this website as well. There is the website for the movie and the book, the memoir. Take a look at this. You can go and check that out as well. That's where you'll find the memoir. And of course, it's going to be coming out in September. And look for this to be streamed too. This is going to be, they're working on a streaming deal right now. So that's going to be quite epic. My Last Best Friend, and Eric plays two extraordinary characters within this movie. And it really is absolutely amazing. And again, joined also by Carol Alt and Rico Simonini. And of course, Rico was a guest on our show. You can see that past episode on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, where everything is all archived. And again, we thank Filippo. This was his directorial debut, and what a great one, huh? Surrounded by wonderful talent and a lot of people with heart and soul who wanted to make sure that this came off well, and it certainly has. And as I mentioned, garnering all kinds of acclaim and awards and so much more. It is, again, My Last Best Friend. We thank Filippo, and we thank the incomparable Eric Roberts, and the bonus of having his lovely better half, Eliza, joining us as well with some epic stories. That was a little bonus there, right? You got a chance. And what a love story between the two of them. I think that was so beautiful to see here, unscripted, on camera. And really, really beautiful. Thanks for all these great comments. Let's take a look at some of the comments from our lovely viewers here. Kathleen Walker in New York City says, awesome show and guests. Thank you, Jim. The pleasure is all mine, Kathleen in New York. Sherry Larson, thank you, Jim, for another amazing show. My pleasure. And thanks, Filippo, for being here as well. We appreciate him, and we celebrate him and his movie, and more to come from him. And Maureen, thank you in Arizona. Thanks for all you do. Amazing evening. Lovely Hall. Come back soon for the gang. Yep, we have the door open. They're welcome back anytime, whether it's just a short 15 minutes, 10 minutes, hour, however long they have. We really appreciate that. Pam watching in Maryland, USA. Thank you for a great show. The pleasure is all ours. We appreciate that as well. Merlin watching in Ontario, Canada. It's been such a pleasure meeting all of you. Love the conversation. We appreciate that. And Sherry Larson is here in Kansas, and she says, thank all three of you, of course, Eliza and Eric and Filippo, for being here tonight. I can't wait to see your movie. And what fun and interesting evening it was. Please come back soon. That is wonderful. And something here in chat that happens when the show is on live called a super chat. That's like a real super supporter of the series. Kathleen Walker, New York City. Thank you very much. That's so kind of you. And the wonderful Irish green that I love so much. Thanks, Eric and Eliza, for being here. You are such a beautiful couple. Special people, really enjoying the conversation. I'm so glad that that you did, and more of where that came from. If you joined us late, like to see this archived, well, it is archived, effective right now on our YouTube channel, Jim Masters TV, in full, so you can see it there and enjoy it. And as always, if you would like to, support what we're doing here on our Entertainment Lifestyle Celebrity Talk Show series, give the episode a like. There's a thumbs up icon on the YouTube channel. Give us a like. Share this on your social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Doesn't cost anything. It's Jim Masters TV. That's where we have almost 1,200 episodes of the series. And do leave a comment in the comment section, which is right underneath this episode and all the episodes that you enjoy. And we thank you for watching, supporting, sharing, and enjoying the Jim Masters Show Life series. If this was your first time watching from around the world, welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live experience. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for all the great comments. Again, we thank Eric and Filippo and Eliza joining us here on the program. I am your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time, this time till next time. Come see us again, binge watch the archives. So many, just a couple of nights ago, Lucy Arnez was here, and Melissa Manchester, and so many fabulous people have been on our series, and we love having them and you here. For all of us, Jim Masters, you take care. Don't forget to love one another, take care of one another, and don't forget to love and take care of yourself. Very important to do that. We'll keep the light on for you as well. We'll see you again soon. Cheers.